Hey, this is Rama from Our Stop Shop. So I'm just taking a moment to do a walkthrough of the event real quick because there have been some changes and I just want to help everybody out a little bit. So I'm starting at the event page, so that way in the event, that's your first point of contact. You kind of know what to look for there. You just hit on the ticket thing. This is a free event, so that ticket thing is just pretty much leading you to the website. And so the website, you'll notice some things have been added, some things have been changed. So the dates have already been finalized. August 14th and 15th is the next one. You'll notice this video right here. This video is super important for you to understand what the buy block market is, who we are, the reason behind it, why we're having it, all those things. Instead of you trying to understand who we are after the fact or call us and ask those questions, this video answers all of those questions. And so from there, you'll notice you scroll up a little bit, and the first button, this RSVP on event page, takes you straight to see exactly where we just were. That event page that allows for you to RSVP as going, interested, not going, whatever, right? And that keeps you in the know about any updates we post there. So it's a great idea to opt in. And then from there, we're going to be at the image that identifies that we could use event volunteers. Our only stipulation with event volunteers is a minimum of 5 hours per event day you choose to volunteer for, or per day you choose to volunteer for. That can be broken up throughout the day, so you just need to assess how you want that broken up for yourself. But yeah, you hit that button to go to the site where it allows for you to sign up as a volunteer. And you may or may not know that our event did get covered by CBS 17. It was super awesome. They were out there first thing Saturday morning. So we were actually super busy. He tried to interview me, could not make it happen. He was able to interview another entrepreneur, which was super awesome. Great exposure for her as well. And that's the link to the video clip as well as the write up. And so then it just covers all the things that we initially had on the site. And then here we identify the fact that we do have that we are hiring event staff for this. So this is a great way to supplement your income or kickstart your transition into another type of industry. We are hiring numerous event staff. You do have to be able to meet the requirements. So click on view the job description to see that. In the event you don't have Facebook, to apply through Facebook, you can send an email. So from there, you're gonna scroll down a little bit more. If you have been a vendor at a previous event, you're gonna immediately notice that rates are higher. Yes, they are higher because they take into account a lot of stuff that we couldn't have predicted, but we did eat the cost for the first time. So we're kind of lightening that burden for the most part by spreading it out a little bit. Food and snack and drink vendors, they grossed more insanely than anybody else. The venue charges us a 25% fee on all gross sales. So ultimately, their fees were kind of put up based on the average sales of all the folks that sold food, drink, snacks within their industry by day. And we want to make sure that we adequately can allow for you guys to be there and thrive even more. The sales are just going to get more insane from here. That weekend was a test weekend with a lot of things competing without time, and it went phenomenal. People still saw four figures in tons of industries. And so, as you can see right here, also identifies the deadline. So, registration closes July 15th unless all the slots fill up beforehand. Based on how many people have reached out just off of us posting the event page today, I'm very, very confident all the slots will fill up a lot sooner than July 15th. So, if you want to be a part of this, you snooze, you lose. Just remember that. Want to remind you, we do offer a pay in 4 payment plan option through PayPal. 2 stipulations behind that. You already have to have a pre-existing PayPal account. That PayPal account has to have your social security number on it, because those 2 things are going to be factors in PayPal pre-qualifying you to even offer you that option. some of the other things you'll notice is the vendor space went down by a little bit. So now it's an 8 by 8 foot space unless you are a food, snack, or drink vendor. Those are going to remain at 10 by 10 foot spaces indoors. Outdoors, that's a completely different situation. It still includes one vendor shirt, includes one chair for your booth. The BA support staff, we plan to have even more of that to truly help streamline the check-in process, the setup and breakdown process, the shirt distribution process, and your breaks. We do not want our vendors eating at their booths. That is why we designated that designated vendor break room upstairs, so that you have access to see everything, stay in the know without being distracted while you're supposed to be raising your brand awareness and engaging with customers. We had a lot of photos of vendors either on their phones, distracted while people were at or near their booth, or eating behind the table. And it really clashed with really making sure to leave that type of first impression that allows for people to want to build and connect to your brand at a higher tier. So it's super important to pay attention to that. Just a reminder, you must submit payment to finalize your vendor slot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this process really quick so that you can see how it's done and have an idea of what it looks like. Most people will need to start here, so this is where I'm going to start. I'm just going to type in some generic info so that we can just get through the process. The test. And so the goal of this is just to make sure we make it through the process. And so social media isn't required. Industry type is service. IMS. And so you want to check out the section below before you submit, unlike what I did, because you want to make sure you pay attention to those details. Those details may end up causing you to have to put a pause in your process, or may slow you up with being able to complete it. So that's just a heads up. Now, it's going to bring you to this page. From this page, you're going to receive an email automatically. That email is just letting you know we received that initial form you submitted. And if you don't click on the red button to pay at this page, ultimately you'll have the ability to click on it from that email itself. But for me, I'm going to go through the entire process. So I'm going to either both of these buttons, this red button that says pay to secure vendor date, this red button that says secure vendor spot, they lead you to the exact same page. So I'm going to just click on the top one. And that's going to bring us here. So here's where you're going to actually select your vendor slot. So you will notice, like I said before, all the vendor slots went up. We ate a lot of the cost of the first time, just trying to allow for people to get acclimated and familiar and understand how beneficial it was. We know for a fact that even non-food, snack, and drink vendors, we're seeing high 3 figures to 4-figure numbers. A lot of people walked away with thousands of dollars in sales from this event. So we want to make sure you guys continue to build on that. Okay, so awesome. So the first one is ultimately going to be what most people fall under, is if you are a grocery product provider as well, like you sell coffee beans or you sell jams or jellies and stuff like that, you'll typically herbs, teas, you'll typically fall under groceries as well. And so majority of you will fall under vendor slot number 1 at $110 a day. The rest of some people will fall under food. Food is going to be prepared items, whether it's cold or hot. So you can make Subway subs, or you can make you can have like hot food, like some tacos and stuff like that. You still fall under food. And you come with your own requirements, which are thoroughly listed out, and you have to be able to provide them. Snack and dessert vendors fall under their own stipulations and have documents they have to be able to provide. Drink vendors, same thing. Non-for-profits, if you are a non-for-profit, you have to be able to provide those documents that validate you being a formally structured non-for-profit, not just somebody that isn't going to charge something on the spot today. You have to have non-for-profit documentation to validate that status. If not, you will be knocked out of your non-for-profit status and you'll have to pay the difference, or you'll be removed as a vendor from the list altogether if you do not sign up for the right one. So majority of people are going to be under vendor slot. And so I just clicked on it. You would have noticed that arrow right here to the right pop up, and that's going to automatically take you down to the add-on options. Here's the only place you can select these add-on options. So you want to read these in detail and assess if there are any that you want to get immediately. So look through them, look through all of them, even the shirt size. In the event you know you wear a larger shirt size, you want to select that add-on. So you need to pay close attention to this section to make sure you select anything that is applicable to your situation. The chairs, the tables. One of the requests that we had by a number of businesses who were vendors last time was the ability to be able to book a double booth. They regretted not doing it. They wanted the option to do it. Now we have streamlined that process for you to be able to do it right here. So this is what you select to have a double booth spaces for your business at the same event day. So if you want 2 booth spaces for the Saturday, 2 booth spaces for Sunday, this is the box you have to select to do that. Yeah, so that covers that. There are no tables included. We had a number of vendors request electricity. This is where you select your electricity as well. Traditional electricity that most people, the just standard plug-in, is going to be that 20 amp. That is $28. You'll select that, and we will have the electricity. We'll have you aligned with the outlet in your booth space. So typically people won't need the 30 amp or 50 amp unless there may be food truck stuff like that, and those are more often accessible outside than inside, but you can get it inside if you require it inside. The $28 should be sufficient for almost everybody though. Okay, so here's the part that I really want to focus on, because this is the most drastic change from before. Last go around, if you did both days, you selected an add-on. You will not select an add-on this time. Actually, let me double back for a second. So this very last optional add-on listed is 1 day early setup access. So last time we tried to extend the option for people to be able to come in early and set up. We're not going to be able to do that for everybody this time. This time you do have to pay for early access. 1 day early access. 1 day early setup access, because we're going to keep a team designated. We're going to have a team designated just to help you set up and make sure your section is prepared in advance to be set up before you get there. Setup time now is going to be from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for you to be able to do that the day before the event, so that we can have pretty much from the crack of dawn until late into that afternoon to be able to get the floor plan completely right before any business vendors show up on site. So yeah, it does come with a cost, but that cost will be worth it depending on how huge of a setup you have. We saw some business vendors take a good chunk of time, that extra 3-4 hours. Our check-in window is being extended as well. However, our check-in window is no longer out 90 minutes. It's now 3 hours. So you'll have a lot of time the hours before the event start time to get checked in as well. And we put in a lot of precautions for us not to incur the same type of internet issues that slowed or almost pretty much brought check-in to a halt on Saturday. And so now onto the calendar. So on the calendar, if you are opting to do both days, this is the important part. So you notice when I clicked on the 14th, it shows the time the event starts and continue. You're not going to hit continue if you want to do both days. You're going to hit add a time. And so the first time I clicked on the 14th is at the bottom. And now I have the ability to click on the 15th. And once I hit the 15th, now I can hit continue, because now you'll see that both dates are now selected. So as you continue the rest of this process, we're fully aware that you're doing both event days. It's listed there in detail. It's going to show up on your confirmation the same way. And so you input the reason why you're doing it that way versus hitting continue after the 14th or hitting continue after the 15th and then going back is because that's going to save you all the time you have to spend filling out all of this section. You don't have to fill out this section twice by doing it that way. You just have to fill it out once. So it's important for you to do it that way to spare yourself a lot of time. Okay, so You'll put in your name, information, your phone number, your email. It's important to read these terms and conditions. These terms and conditions are the answers to 99% of your questions if you're thinking about canceling, if you're thinking about a refund, if you're thinking about wanting to make changes super last minute, wanting to make modifications, something comes up. This is your answers to all of those questions. These are also your answers to if a certain type of business slot is filled. So there are a couple of types of businesses that can't have more than one. For the most part, these are the three that we are fully aware of: paparazzi, drink to shrink, color street. In the event you are under one of those, as those fill up, this will highlight identifying that those slots are already filled. As of right now, however, you can see we don't have a paparazzi, drink to shrink, or color street vendor for both days yet. So as those changes happen, we'll update this accordingly. Now, once you submit payment for your vendor slot, your confirmation will come from this address. So it's not your initial confirmation for after you pay does not come from contact at our stop shop. It comes from here. So it's super important for you to search this address to look for your confirmation if it doesn't show up in your inbox without an issue. Our Stop Shop, contact at ourstopshop.com is going to be where every other update comes from. So you want to save both email addresses to your email contacts or email address book. Now, this is an indoor event, so we want to just reiterate, in the event there's certain things we need to take into account based on you being a certain type of business indoors. Keep that in mind. Communicate it proactively. Let us know. It's happening 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Check-in time, just to remind you, is 8 a.m. to 10:45 p.m. For most vendors, food trucks or any mobile vehicle businesses need to get there at 7:30 a.m., especially if you want to be within the building. So that's that. Your display space will be an 8 by 8 foot space. As identified here, there is a fee if you don't stay within your designated space. We had issues with people utilizing space that was not a part of their designated space. We had issues with people utilizing add-ons that they know they had not pre-purchased. This time we are going to have to strictly enforce that to make sure that we can really adequately accommodate all of the businesses that want to benefit from this opportunity. It's not just about us as individuals, it's about all of us collectively progressing. And so this section identifies the policies, this identifies payments, right? This identifies shirt sizes and how that impacts things. The return policy, i.e. the refund policy, you want to read that section. Cancellation policy, there are several tiers to the cancellation policy. Payment issues, it identifies that in this section. You have to agree to all these terms and conditions just to be able to pay. So it's a good idea for you to read them so you don't feel blindsided in the event something transpires that you're not okay with, you're bothered by, you're frustrated with, or something comes up. And so then you have to fill out a lot more information on this form than you had to before. And so we want to make sure you do that. Now, the biggest update, even bigger update is we technically can allow alcohol businesses who are in the alcohol, tobacco, or lottery industry into this event, but you cannot have those specific. You can't have the products on the premises. So say you own a cigar bar, you can't have cigars at the venue, but you can come and publicize and drive that awareness and that recognition and allow for people to set up bookings and things like that. Say you're a mobile bartender, this is a great time to schedule some bookings, finalize some consults, raise awareness about the options, set up different activities, things of that nature. You just cannot have alcohol on the premises. Lottery is not permitted on the premises at all. But in the event you own a sweepstakes or something and you're a black owned entity, by all means, feel free to bring stuff to let people know about the option. We've had lottery participate in some vendor events we did, and they didn't just give out lottery tickets or anything lottery ticket related. They've given out like oven mitts. They've given out tons of stuff with their branded logo on it just to drive that brand recognition and brand awareness. It doesn't have to be what you have on site, doesn't have to be your exact product. It can just be to drive awareness about your brand, your logo, your services, your products, so people can utilize or tap into it for future references. And then this section just goes over those very specific nitty gritty details about add-ons again. For those people who may not have read it the first time, this allows for you to be forced to have to acknowledge that tables are not included. You only have one chair, and take into account ordering those things if you require those things. Also, there you notice two different types of chairs at the event. The reason behind that is because one chair type has a weight capacity of 250, the other one does not. So we need to make sure there's no issues with that. Electricity was a big point for a number of our vendors, and they that didn't proactively request it. So now we are making sure to I blatantly acknowledge the electricity thing. So in the event you do require it, we're able to address it in a timely fashion with you. And then the rest of it just goes further into things you need to fill out. We increase the shirt size to 6L, but as you know, that anything past a 4L does come with a required add-on fee. So you want to pay attention to those add-ons as well. From here, I also want to acknowledge that in the event you were seeing the photos float around with business vendors, logos or images in them, identifying them as business vendors in our stories and things, they gave us those photos here. So if you want to be able to have yours reflected in things, you need to upload that image here. There will be no other way to do it. You cannot email it to us after the fact. That's why this section is here for you. And then it's just more information. The Facebook, Instagram, Melanated People socials you place in this section are the ones we will be acknowledging when those start to float around social media. And then optional add-ons. If you participated last time, you received an email after the facts about the option. Later on, after you were confirmed about the option to pre-order meals. Well, now it's a step in the process that you can start to acknowledge now. On the next page after you pay, you'll have the ability to feed into the vendor meal pre-order option if you want it. Everybody that ate it has already started to place their orders for this time because the food was bomb. They put their foot in it, and it just allowed for you to have a place to step away. You went up to the vendor break room, they were already up there. They know your orders up front, so it's prepared and ready to be given to you at the drop of the hat. And it's just a really great way. It's a really relaxing way to make sure you at least get some food in you despite all the chaos and stuff. Granted, even with people doing that, they still ended up, we're going to be there 11, 12-hour days. They still ended up going to the food truck or going to check out some of the drink and snack vendors throughout the day as well. So it does not deter you from being able to support other vendors, but it just makes sure you at least eat something during that super long business day. Now, in the second to last section is for those businesses that identify themselves as nonprofits. You have to be a formal nonprofit. You have to either have your 501c3 or you have to have your nonprofit status. If of some sort, you have to have the actual formation structure so you can provide us with those documentations. And they are required for you to upload here. If you do not, we'll knock out your nonprofit status and you'll be forced to just convert to the traditional status. Traditional business vendor structure. Now, the very last question, we wanted to implement this last time, but we did not have time. We do have it this time, however. So we did want to allow for people to have the option to get access to a lot of businesses that they may not have made it around to. When it's this many businesses in a facility, people get tired. So they don't make it to every business. So we wanted to do a gift basket raffle with different products and services offered from an array of businesses for people to have the option to enter into the raffle. And our goal was to split a large portion of whatever the raffle donations were between the businesses that entered something in. So it's just a great way to get your brand recognition out there, get somebody to try something that they may not have asked for in detail up front, and allow for people to be made aware about even more Black business options, whether they made it to your booth or not. It's a great way for them to get access to a number of things. So that is completely optional. You do not have to say yes to it, but we wanted to extend the option for people to be able to participate because some people are not taking heed to, all of the advice and guidance we're given to help you prepare to do the brand development and business growth the way you truly can from this opportunity. And so from here, once you complete all this, In the event you have any type of future credit or discounts or things like that, you'll hit redeem coupon to enter that info. If not, you'll hit pay now. Pay now will let you pay with a credit card or debit card. Or you can hit pay with PayPal, which will also let you pay with a credit or debit card, but it'll also let you take advantage of the pay in four payment plan option if that's what you wanted to use. It'll also allow for you to use your PayPal's balance to pay towards it, or link a bank account to your PayPal and pay straight from your bank account. So you have a variety of options with PayPal that you may not have with just hitting pay now. So just keep that in mind. And so ultimately from here is pretty cut and dry. The next page after you finalize payment, in the event you want to take advantage of the vendor meal pre-order, you can do 1 meal per person per day on that next page. And you just want to make sure you proceed all the way through to provide us with your payment information, or you pay with the button that with the page it reroutes you to even after that. Either way, I hope that was helpful. If you have any more questions, let us know so that we can address them.